Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this episode 8, would you believe it or not, of Wellbeing with Seamus. I'm your host, Seamus Corey, so thank you for coming along, tuning in, following and subscribing both to my YouTube channel and my Spotify channel. If you've not already done it, do it today because you do not want to miss out on this episode. I am joined today by my brother from another mother, from my brother across the water. He is a comedian, speechwriter, company founder, satirist, as well as the author of a wonderful collection of books. If you want your LinkedIn profile livened up, if you want your bar mitzvah lighted up, your funeral lit up, your leaving party lit up, speak to this guy because this guy can write you the most amazing roast ever written on the face of this planet. This guy is a gift to humanity, and I'd like to introduce you, one and all, to Geoff Woliner this afternoon. Geoff, you're welcome to Wellbeing with Seamus. How are you this afternoon, my friend?
Not sure how I step into an intro that beautiful, but well, first of all, thank you. That's wow. Okay. Um, it's incredible as somebody who's written so many speeches and coached so many folks to give speeches. One of the first things I do is to say, never say the dumb ums, and there I did it because that's how floored I am. That's how taken aback I am by that beautiful intro and your wonderful energy and your graciousness. And I just want to say I deeply appreciate you, my friend, and I am so honored to be here today with you.
Oh, it's great to have you, Geoff. And you and I connected again through the power of LinkedIn, right? Through the power of LinkedIn, and would you believe, nearly a year ago. We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary, my friend, of connection, and I suppose since that connection, you have moved me in many ways. Both personally, you're a support for me, and you're a powerful support for me, even though you're 2,500 miles away across that big stretch of water called the Atlantic Ocean. Um, but you are a wonderful ambassador for life in the world. And I want to firstly compliment you on your amazing, beautiful writing, man. The Path to Perfectia, both volumes 1 and volumes 2, and we're going to get to that in terms of those books and what they're all about. But I'd like to take you back, man, if I may.
You
And
may.
thank you, my brother. I'd like to take you back to 2003, where life took a sudden turn for you in very much the right direction. Tell me, tell me about that wedding you attended.
That was an experience, man. And, you know, for so many years, I had traveled this road of life is absolutely perfect and
Yeah,
it just can't get any damn better.
yeah.
And I never thought it could possibly be this good. And then life has an interesting way of saying, oh, you think you're having fun, are you? You think you're having a good old time? Well, let's do something about that, shall we? And then it just absolutely kicked me in the cojones and it set me to my knees. And then I had a really, really, really difficult several years after that, where the best way I could describe it was truly being off course with my purpose, with my mission, with why my soul decided to take this little adventure in this character, this avatar called Geoff. And 8 years after that, I found myself as the best man at a big fat Greek wedding, a real big fat Greek wedding.
Oh,
And yeah, legitimate. And I was tasked with giving a speech for the groom. Now, at a Greek wedding, the food is an experience unto itself. And the Viennese table was the size of a small nation. So here I am, I'm half food coma. I have a lot of ouzo in me, as one would expect at a Greek wedding, and I've got to give this speech. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to just roast the guy because everyone needs a good roasting. Why not? I'm a comedian. Let's rock and roll. I
yeah.
get up there, I roast, just absolutely tear the guy limb from limb. It's a great time. And the most incredible thing happens after the wedding. Several people come up to me and they said, "Damn, Geoff, I wish I known you when I had to give my speech at my friend's wedding, at my daughter's wedding, at so and so's wedding. And if you could have helped me with that, that would have been amazing." And then the light bulb went off in my head. So, well, how do you like that? Could that even be a business? Could that even be a thing?
Wow.
And it was this spark that led to me starting this business called Winning Wit and following a passion of mine, which is to help other people win their big moments. And then it utterly took a life on its own, a life of its own. It helped to get me back on track. And that was good for a while until it wasn't, like all other things. And then you had to have the next positive deconstruction and the next in breath and out breath of the universe, the next
Yeah.
contraction followed by the next expansion. And so it goes.
Wow. So how did you how did you fall into writing? I mean, you've always been a writer, speech writer, script writer, comedian. Um, how did you fall into writing books, man? How did that happen?
So, a lot of people have this great story about this inspiration that hit them for their first book, and they just had this idea and they needed to share it with the world, and it was a calling. And I'm going to tell you, it was none of that, pal. It was none of it. It was nothing beautiful. It was nothing luminous. It was nothing inspiring. It was none of that crap. It was complete raw ego, baby. That was it. It
Wow.
was a very classic, very cliche, might I add, midlife crisis
Yeah.
where, I wake up and I'm 38 years old and like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I'm not where I want to be. I'm not doing the thing I want to do, and felt a lot of burnout. I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book and that'll fix everything. Then I'll be an author and somehow this will be a bestseller. And then I can finally fill this hole in my life with this accolade of having written a book. So I lean into it and I write a book called Get Bitter to Get Better.
Yeah.
And this book was essentially based on the idea of I had worked with all these people throughout the years who had been beaten to their knees emotionally, psychologically, spiritually by and I use this word in quotations, the villains in their lives.
Hmm.
And you understand this having experienced this. And I know a lot of the listeners here can relate to this too. And this
Yeah.
villain can take on a lot of different forms. Sometimes this villain can be an abusive parent. Sometimes this villain can be a high school bully. Sometimes this villain could be an abusive ex-spouse. Sometimes it can be a relentless critic at work, maybe a micromanaging boss. But whoever this villain is, they serve really as the weight resistance to your soul's expansion, but they show up as the villain. They
Yeah.
show up as the person trying to keep you down, trying to dim your light, dim your spark, and put that bug in your head that you're nothing, that you're nobody, you're less than. And what I found when I was working with all my clients over the years who had these big moments they needed to step into, whether it was a speech at a big fundraiser, whether it was a speech at a wedding, whether it was a big corporate presentation, whatever it was, there was this bug that was still in their head that their villain planted. You're going to blow it. No one's going to laugh at your jokes. No one's going to be moved by your story. Nobody cares. You're nothing. You're nobody. So after working with all these people, I said, why don't I write a book that gives them a 7-step process out of this paradigm, where they can actually go back to the root of where this started, identify it, say, okay, that's my villain. That's where it came from. Here's how I get myself out. And after step 7, here's how I win that big moment and step into my luminosity. So I put this book out there, and let me tell you, man, it had the most incredible, incredible reception by the 4 people who read it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's 4 good reviews, yeah.
Good reviews, man.
Get in, man. You can't
It was
beat a good
awesome.
review. You can't
It
beat a
was
good
awesome.
review. Oh wow.
And one surprise you to hear, though, that, you know, shock of all shocks, it didn't fill that hole.
Yeah.
It didn't fill it.
Yeah.
Here I am. I have this paper back in my hand. And look at me. I'm an author now. I did it. Why do I still feel the way I feel? Why do I
Yeah.
still feel empty? Why do I still feel rudderless? Why am I still depressed? Why am I still suicidal? Why am I still in the throes of all this? That shouldn't be happening, right? I did the thing. That's what they always tell you. You do the thing and then you won't feel the thing.
Yeah.
And this is what we're constantly imbued with from the moment we can walk and talk. Do the thing and you won't have to feel the thing. Funny thing is though, you still feel the thing.
Yeah, and the thing is still with you, right?
Yeah.
Irrespective of what you do. So when did you When did you make friends with the time?
A couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
honestly, if we're really being honest. And I thought I'd made friends with it earlier because we tell ourselves these stories that we do.
yeah,
And then the only way to know if you've truly made friends with it is the moment when it finally comes back around to you and you stop judging it and you embrace it and you invite it in for a cup of coffee.
yeah,
That's the only way. And what I had thought earlier, because I had these series of awakenings that had happened after I wrote the book. And 2020, I know, again, surprise, surprise, how cliche is this? It was one of the great catalysts for the awakening. And I know that was the case for a lot of people. It certainly was for me.
certainly
And I
was
had a
for me as
series
well.
of them. For you as well?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I
2020
remember
was
us talking about that.
yeah, 2020 was a it was a live big year. I walked away from full-time employment to create my own business in 2020. Yeah, so that was a pretty big year. But sorry to interrupt, man.
No, no, I'm glad you did because it allowed you to shine. It allowed you to step into who you were always meant to be and who you were always meant to show up as.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome watching other people, including, mutual friends of ours, doing the same thing. And 2020 was a catalyst, and they've done that as well. And it was really, really cool to see, and reading their books about it and watching their journey and witnessing their journey. And it's inspiring for me.
Mm.
What's really interesting about it, though, is that people think awakening is a one-time thing. You
Nope.
have the moments, and then boom, I get it now, and all is well. And then you realize, well, actually, no, it isn't. I'm still, I
Yeah,
got a long way to go, baby. I got a long way to go.
absolutely. And it's very much you say yourself, it's very much how you transmute, your own pain and your own, trauma, and turn it into something better. Become better, not bitter, as my great friend Lonnie Ray, amazing editor, has said many many times. And part of that journey, and it's where I connected with you really, was the path to Perfectia
Yeah.
series. And I remember you and I sat down, we had a conversation. You said to me, "Okay, nearly finished my first book. Here it is. It's soon going to be published." And I asked you what it's about. Tell me what it's about, and tell the listeners what the path to Perfectia is all about. If you can, because it's bigger than just a book, right?
It is. It really is. So, a little backstory about how the book came to be
Mm,
for the listener. So, this will help create a context around it because it's difficult to describe it otherwise. And I know you understand this.
yeah.
So, I was essentially taken to within an inch of my life in 2022. I had mysteriously lost over 70 pounds in 3 months. I had an acupuncturist tell me my organs were beginning to shut down. I couldn't eat, couldn't drink, couldn't travel, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, barely get out of bed. And I essentially came right to the brink, the true brink.
Yeah.
I realize now that it was happening for me because I had to just release everything in the past that didn't serve me, all my old coping mechanisms and habits and all these things that you do to paper over the traumas. Well, a funny thing happens when your body's shutting down. It takes you on an express train to yourself,
Mm,
and you got to look yourself right in the eye. And then if you're willing to do that and sit with it and truly and not run away anymore because there's nowhere to run now. It's just you and you. Then you say, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's dance. Let's have this conversation. Let's see what this really is all about.
yeah.
And then once I was able to just sit with it, I had this feeling come over me. And this feeling has been described in the book. The characters have felt this feeling, this rush in your chest, this warm feeling that overtakes you. And that feeling took me to the next room and it just started writing. And it told me names, the names of Diana, Smooth,
No.
Bianca,
Yeah.
Andy. These names just start coming to me. I'm not sure what to do with them. These names had come to me prior, a couple years earlier. And I started writing a book around that. And it was the wrong book and it was the wrong story. But it said, no, no, start writing it now. And when I say this book and the story came through me, it truly came through me.
Yeah.
And people say that glibly. It came through me. It's not even, it really came through me because this is the first time in my life I looked at a book and I said, who the hell wrote that? Who the hell wrote that? I don't know. And it sounds like me. It's my cadence and it's my writing style and all that. But the story itself was unlike anything I'd ever concocted in the past.
Yeah.
There was something else happening. And the essence of the story, and it begins in a very, like, It's a Wonderful Life kind of style. You have this character who's sitting at a bar and he's just having the worst day of his life. It's a timepiece, so it starts out in December of 2000, and he's in this bar in New York City, and it's Christmas time. It's December 6th, and the Christmas music is playing in the bar, and he's just absolutely at his wit's end. I mean, he's suffering from so much grief. It's the anniversary of the death of his mom 12 years prior when he was only 10 years old. He'd never truly synthesized the experience and gotten past it. And his girlfriend had just broken up with him, left him for another guy. And of course, she showed up to the bar that night with the other guy, and he's just having the worst night ever. And he has nowhere to go. And he's so disconnected from himself that he essentially puts out this call unconsciously for help. And help arrives in the form of his spirit guide, who
Yeah.
shows up as a guy who looks around the same age as him, but is just having the time of his life. The spirit guide is saying, "Isn't this great? Look at this. This is fantastic." And the main character is like, "What are you talking about? Fantastic. This sucks, man. I'm grieving the loss of my mom. My girlfriend left me. Life sucks. I hate my job. Everything is terrible." And now he's saying this. Now, mind you, as I'm writing the story, these truths are coming to me from a place that I can't identify, but is just speaking to me as the word perfectia. That's the word that just keeps coming in my head. This is this realm of expanded consciousness of bliss called perfectia. And the visitor he got that night, his spirit guide, called himself Angel, who is an
Yeah.
emissary from Perfectia. And Angel is coming down to tell him, okay, here's what you need to know, Smooth. And the main character's name is Smooth, and it's written from his perspective. He's basically saying, Smooth, here's what you need to know. This whole thing you take so seriously, it's just a big dream of the divine. And you are just living out the dream of the divine as this character named Smooth on this stage called Earth with these other characters here, like your friend, the bartender, Joey, and everybody else here, your ex-girlfriend, Cassie, and all of them. They're just characters playing a play. So stop taking it so damn seriously and lean into it. Truly lean into it. And that's where you'll find all the magic. And that's where the story of this journey begins.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story, man. And it's captivated me, and I know it's captivated quite a lot of people who've read your books, and you know, I I commend you for writing, and I commend you for the voices who've come through you to, to share their words and put them on paper in the way that they have. It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful piece of work. And what it's done for me, Jeff, it's given me a new appreciation for music as I'm traveling, because I know integral to the writing is the soundtrack which follows the book. And sometimes we listen to music and we just listen to music, right? And it doesn't have the effect. But actually, when you really step into it and you really listen to the words themselves take on a whole new meaning. And I love the way you've blended, or through you has blended the musical accompaniment to this book, which is amazing. And there's so many good solid tunes in there that when I'm driving up the road now, when I'm driving the motorway, I'm really conscious of what I'm listening to, and that changes my mood, which which
Absolutely.
which again is part and parcel of this beautiful book. And when you see music and when you see words and lyrics written down, actually they take on a whole new meaning, right?
Very much so. So, fun story about that. It was the music that wrote the book.
Wow. Okay.
So as the characters are coming to me and the words are coming to me, as the story continued to develop for both book one and two, and now book three as it's underway.
Get in.
Yeah, buddy. It's gonna be awesome.
We're
I'm so excited.
coming at you, book three.
Coming at you, baby.
Can't wait
Yep.
for I can't wait for the movie. I can't wait for the movie.
Me too. And I had a premonition that it is going to become a movie. I don't know how or where or when or through what mechanism, and I don't care. And I mean that honestly. I don't care. I will just let the universe do its thing. and it will dazzle me, and it'll happen. And I'm excited about that. The the scene. So when I was talking to, whoever's out there communicating this story to me, say, I want you to tell me how to write these scenes in a way that will light me up and inspire me and create a picture in my mind. Because if you create a picture in my mind and it's combined with the higher vibratory energy of the music that's coming through, then the words will flow out of me onto that page. So I would put my Spotify playlist on random and I would say, okay, show me what's next. And the next song would come up. And as that song would come up, oh my God, okay, I get it now. And as the song is playing, I'm furiously typing away notes, furiously typing notes. Okay, so it's this scene, and this song is setting the scene, and this is what's going to happen here. And then, so all these very, very, very critical scenes in both books were actually written by the song just appearing on the Spotify playlist. And it wrote the entire scene in my mind and pieced together the entire story.
It's incredible. It's a beautiful tapestry, Geoff. It's a beautiful tapestry. And what you're left with is a real comfort blanket. Is a real comfort blanket to know that for me, and I get it, and I see you, and I see the books, and I understand the books, and I understand the concept behind the books, and journey for me is very much central to my own life, and for those of us who are on that journey back to Perfectia, from whence we came, because we all started out as pure energy, right? We all started out as pure light, and somewhere along the way, like you've said, we've ended up in this stage called Earth, in this character called Geoff and Seamus, surrounded by all this kind of props, whether it be technology or but it's all just a dream, because our true reality, our true home is somewhere else, right? And I suppose you wouldn't be the first to say that. You know,
Definitely not.
when you look at all the spiritual traditions across the world, all of them have that, nirvana, heaven, you know, all of them have that place, that pure place where we all go, where there is no more pain, where there is no more suffering, where we're all together, when we're all joined, and when we're all truly connected to one another.
Absolutely.
How, Geoff, do we get there?
So that's a great question. I would say there's a few different ways, and it's different for each person. So at the
Mm,
risk of just putting a total cop out there, it really is different. I would say the first thing, and this really worked for me, and I know this works for some other people that I know who have really found, I would say, a more resting state of peace than they've ever
yeah,
known before,
yeah.
is lean into that which is true for you and don't get caught up in other people's methodologies for how you're supposed to find it.
Mm,
Whatever it is, you already have it. You're already there. You're already home. You've always been home. You never left. This is a dream. It's a manifestation. It's an appearance. It's an illusion. It's not the core of who and what you really are. Who and what you really are is indestructible. It's eternal. It's perfect. It can never be hurt, broken, traumatized. Only the appearance can. Only the illusion can. You will always return back to that which you are. Always. The story always gets a happy ending no matter what. So that's a pretty good foundation to start from. You realize the
yeah.
story always gets a happy ending no matter what. Then the rest is house money. You could just kind of play with it. So once you're playing with it, again, lean into that which is resonant for you.
Mm,
So I actually think there's a lot of, you know, I think a lot of people have this journey where, especially, and you of all people can relate to this deeply, where you start out under very heavy religious tradition, some would call it indoctrination, whatever word you want to use for it. And
yeah.
then you come to this awakened state and you throw off the shackles of it and you're free and you're liberated from it. And then you'll kind of tack into like a very heavy kind of Richard Dawkins-ish kind of atheism as a response to it. And you'll have that journey. And then the deeper into that journey you go, you'll start kind of seeing kind of the quantum reality underlying everything. So you'll get interested in the science of it. And then that will open you up to some of the more deeper energetics and the hermetics of it. And that will maybe kind of bring you back around. Now you're like in a new age spiritual kind of place. So now maybe you'll go to Bali for a bit or Tulum or Sedona and you'll do that thing and you'll have a channeling and you'll start getting into crystals and incense, and you'll do that thing, and then a lot of that won't be resonant either. And then you kind of find yourself in a place of, well, what the hell do I do now? That's a good place to be, the what the hell do I do now?
Yeah.
Because if you fall into, and I'm not saying this to dog any of it. I'm truly not. This is just a very common journey, and it's a beautiful journey. Every stage of it is a beautiful journey. Every stage of it is beautiful. All of it, even the hard stuff. So if there's something that allows you to reconnect with that true sense of peace and knowing and remembrance, true remembrance, lean into that and throw out the rest. You don't need it. If somebody says, hey, yoga is the greatest thing in the world, and I love yoga, and yoga centers me, and yoga is wonderful, that's great for them. And if
Yeah.
that's great for you too, wonderful. But if it's not, don't torture yourself that yoga doesn't work for you. Same with meditation. A lot of people swear by meditation. Meditation's not for everybody. It really isn't. And if it's not for you, that's okay. It doesn't have to be for you. If painting is the thing that gets you into that flow state, if painting's the thing that reconnects you to the beauty of all that is and the beauty of all you are, then damn it, get a brush and start painting
Oh,
and
oh,
do that which lights you up. Because here's the real kind of nuts and bolts of it. You came here to be you, to be this character, not to be a cheap knockoff of the yoga master over there, or the meditative retreat leader over here, or the psychedelic guru over here, or the priest over here, or the imam over here. You came to be you,
yeah.
you, and express the all as you. And the all likes to do things specifically through you. And that's why you like what you like. It's not an accident that you like what you like. You like what you like for a reason, because all that is wants to experience that thing through you. So the more you lean into what you love and what lights you up, the more you're honoring who you truly are and who we all truly are.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jeff. Beautifully said. Beautifully said, Jeff. Jeff, what's next for you?
A lot, man. It's been a busy year, brother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
currently working on book 3 right now, which
Okay.
and in a lot of ways it's I'm 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 putting together the architecture of it versus kind of going all in, because they've fallen into a pattern where
Mm,
they'll speak to me in the colder months and they'll kind of get me through the winter. And then in the warm months, you're like, dude, go out and have fun. Don't worry about us. We'll be here when you need us. So I think in a couple of months, the story is really going to get up and really rolling, real in a really robust kind of a way.
yeah.
But right now,
I'm looking forward to that, brother. As I've shared with you already, my shelf in my library is all empty for you, mate.
I appreciate you. I'll fill it up, man. I'm not going to let you down. I
I
promise you.
got that. I got that. I got that. I see that coming down the road. I absolutely got that. I'm already making advanced preparations, man.
I appreciate you, man. That's awesome. I will be equal to the task. That is my vow and my pledge to you, sir. I just started a couple new channels, so I'm moving into really full-time content creation now.
Okay.
This is something that's been exciting for me for a long time, and it's, like what do they say? What does the all like to do? Through me, it likes to create content. So I just launched a Substack, and if you want to check it out, it's just woliner.substack.com. And you may remember this from last year. I had a series of channel visions called The Garden,
Yeah.
and it was about this world to come. And the books certainly play into that theme quite a bit as the series goes on. And essentially, what would this world look like if we healed on an individual level, one by one by one by one, and that how would that manifest? And I asked the universe, say, show me if we have a world where people are truly healed of their trauma, if they're mindful of who and what they are, if they're kind, if they're considerate, if they're thoughtful, what would that world actually look like? And show me it in different ways. What would it look like in relationships? What would it look like in politics? What would it look like in religion? What would it look like climatologically? What would it look like in all these different facets? And
Mm.
it starts showing me these visions, and I just had to put them down. So I decided to start an actual Substack where each one of them is going to be dedicated to a different vision of what that world looks like. So I just published one last week. The first one is called The Day Gaza Smiled Again. And it's a vision of the Gaza Strip being the most peaceful, harmonious, and prosperous place on planet Earth. An international meeting place where people fly in from all over the world to meet friends, to conduct business. And it is a complete 180 from what it's experiencing currently. And the vision came through of how that actually happens. And it told the story of two people who were on the opposite sides of that conflict and how they ultimately come together and how they birth this new world in that one place and how it becomes a model for the globe. And these other visions came to me. I published one this morning called When ADHDers Were Gods, and about how this world can understand the talent that's right under its nose and how it's so grossly mismanaged, and
Yeah.
how people who are nonlinear thinkers, if they're actually given the environment to thrive and succeed, what they can do for the world and for
Yeah.
themselves and what that looks like. So I'm really getting into that now, creating these visions of what that looks like. And just launched my YouTube channel as well, which is really going to go full bore into a lot of these kind of interviews and a lot of these thoughts and a lot of these ideas of this is who you are and this is who you can always be. And then I'm launching a new podcast next week called Laughing Off the Ledge. And it's going to be co-hosted with a friend of mine in New York. He's going under his pseudonym, Jules Verne.
I
And
like it.
it's,
I
oh
like
man,
it.
it's going to be fun, brother. This podcast, let me tell you guys, it is going to be the most, I've kind of coined it the podcast your therapist hates. Uh, it
I,
is the most raw, real, no holds barred dive into the topics of depression and suicide specifically.
yeah.
And all from a place of it's okay to feel both.
Yeah.
Let's dig in, let's lean in, let's dive in. Let's stop running away from it. Let's stop trying to medicate our way out of it. Let's dive all the way in and see what's in that cave. And
Yeah.
let's roll around in the mud with it and see what comes out on the other side.
Okay. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I look forward to listening to that, my friend. I look forward to listening to that. Geoff, it's been a pleasure to spend time with you this afternoon. If you would like to spend the next minute or two telling people where they can see you and hear you and feel you and read you, feel free. This is your spot, bud.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to give a shout out to Angela and Dana. I love you both, and I want to thank you both for connecting me with this wonderful human right here.
Likewise,
Absolutely. And
the
you
the
can find,
fight the fight for Dana goes on. I don't know if you've seen it, Geoff, but
no, what's happening?
Dana's been banned from LinkedIn.
No way.
Yeah,
Banned?
Linky's AI Linky kicked her out of LinkedIn.
We got to start a free Dana hashtag, man, and just
Free
roll with
Dana
that.
hashtag,
Free
man.
Dana, man. That's our AI overlords, man. They don't take a rest. They don't take a break, huh?
They don't take a break. They
The
don't.
Terminator, man. They're coming for you.
Uh,
Oh man, that's
Sorry, man.
wild.
Sorry to interrupt your promo, but
No, that's okay. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
yeah. But thank you,
Um,
Angela and Dana, for connecting me,
absolutely.
connecting us, making the connection.
It's what happens, man. You meet amazing people and they introduce you to more amazing people, and that's
Yeah.
just that's the tapestry of life, and it's beautiful. So if you guys want to follow me, so you could check out The Path to Perfectia. It's just spelled perfect with an IA at the end. The Path to Perfectia. The books are available on Amazon. You can find me, Geoff Woliner, on YouTube. So it's youtube.com/@Geoff Woliner. You can find me on Insta, Geoff Woliner. So I'm not hiding behind any brands. It's just me. I'm right out there. And then if you want to follow my Substack and you want to get these visions of the garden to come, then just check it out, woliner.substack.com, or you can just look me at Geoff Woliner Substack and you'll come up with them. You can be a free subscriber. There's no paywalls. So if you want to financially support the Substack, I'm not going to turn your way, but this is not a plea for financial support whatsoever. This is just, if you want to read it, I'd love to have you as a free subscriber. If you want to partake and help to co-create these visions of what this beautiful world can, and I suspect will be.
Geoff, thank you so much. And listeners, if you've not already bought Geoff's books, get out today and buy them. That's not a request, that's an order from me, because these books will change your life. These books will absolutely change your life. If you're ready to get them, buy them, because they will have a message for you. Absolutely 110%. Geoff, it's been an absolute pleasure this afternoon, my brother. You have brought light into my podcast, literally brought light into my podcast. You have, I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. I think your visions are absolutely bang on the money. I think you're one to watch, my friend. Uh, just remember me when a major film production company gets hold of your part to Perfectia series, and I just hope that somewhere down the line, far, far down the credits, my name will be mentioned somehow.
You're getting cast in the movie, so forget a mention, man. You're going to be on the screen whether you like it or not, buddy. So,
You cast me as how brother, I'm uncastable, man. I'm uncontrollable. I'm on fire.
have you already forgotten that there's a scene in an Irish pub in book one? I mean, come on.
No, you got it.
We
Yeah.
need live entertainment, man, and I think we got our
Yeah.
guys. So
We absolutely. I'm not doing any stand up though. I don't want to be roasted. I'm not doing any stand up, man. I don't want
you
to
can
be
get up
roasted.
there and start singing "No Nay Never" with the guys, man. That's all we need, and
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I
that's
got.
rock and roll.
Geoff Woliner, my friend, my brother from another mother, my soulmate from across the water. I wish you well, and I thank you for coming on Wellbeing with Seamus this afternoon, mate. It's been a pleasure, an honor, and privilege, and to have you on, to hear your story, to share your story with my listeners, and people get out there and connect with this guy because this guy will, if you let him, change your life.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man. You take care. You have a good day.
Well.